Hi there, I'm Cesar Jr. and welcome to Monster Month Preview 2. So yesterday we had a look at this and we created, it's a pretty good start for, I'm going to say demon type character. And, pose isn't particularly fantastic right now. There isn't anything really amazing going on, but the proportions are there, and it's a good start for where we want to go. So, of course, today what we're going to do is, if you're catching me from yesterday, then you know that we're going to be doing hands. Hands. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this, and I'm using my 1.5 millimeter aluminum wire, which is very soft. And so what I've done is I've basically gone in and pardon the pun, I hand bent the hand. So what I want to do now is I want to use this as a guide. Now this isn't the finished hand. This is important for you guys to really kind of take note of, because this is just the hand bent. And eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some twisting on here, and this will kind of actually change the length, the overall length. So what I want to do is I want to take a section of my wire, and I'm just going to follow along. I'm going to use this as a guideline. I'm just going to follow along so that I can basically have my left and right hands matching in terms of scale. So you just kind of follow along the guide that you created, and you're going to hold wherever you kind of have a bend, like that. And that'll give you an overall length to all these fingers. So again, very soft wire, so easy for me to bend. This is also one of the reasons why we're going to want to kind of twist this later, so that we get a little bit more strength and rigidity out of this wire than we normally would get. And then back up, and then down. Like so. Well, it doesn't really look like much of a hand right now, but it will be. So now what I want to do is, anywhere where there's one of these loops, I want to take my pliers and I just want to squeeze it like that. I'm just going to squeeze the wire together. You don't want to squeeze too hard, because we're going to be doing some twisting later, and if we squeeze it too hard, we can actually, this is a very soft wire, so it can actually snap. It can permanently weaken the wire to the point where it just snaps. So squeeze that, and I'm squeezing the insides right here as well, not just the tips of the fingers. So it kind of looks like that. And then now what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of put everything back together, so that once again, it kind of looks like a hand. And there we have a left and right. See that? Cool, right? So now what I want to do, I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to hold the base here. And you're going to want 2 pliers for this. And then this one, I'm going to grab the tip, and I'm going to start, I'm not going to grab the tip, I'm going to grab the base, I'm going to start turning, and then slowly but surely work my way up. And again, you don't want it too hard, because it'll actually break it. So there's one. I'm going to do the exact same thing for this one. In fact, I'm going to do it this way, or I'm just going to hold it and twist it like that. And then hold that one. Make sure that you're actually getting the proper too. As in this case, I'm not, so just let me squeeze those two together and make sure I get both of those ends. There we go. And then now, squeeze that like that. And then once again, a little repetitive, guys. Sorry about that, but that's the process. And then the thumb. And what we're left with is something that looks like that. So let me do the same thing here. I really enjoy this particular way. It doesn't take me very long, and it basically gives me hands. So now what I want to do is I want to attach these suckers to our guy, right? We want the hands on our guy. So what I do is here. I put the hands themselves. First thing that I'm going to do is actually I'm going to bend this, because here's the thing. Hands don't come off. If we look down here, hands don't come off like this. They actually sit below. You know, if we look, and I don't know if you can see this, but if you look, my hands don't just kind of come out here. They're not here. They're actually below my forearm. So what I like to do is just put a little bit of a kink. I just kind of exaggerate that. See that? I just kind of exaggerate it just a little bit, so that the hands are actually going to be in the right positions for me. So what I do now is I take these endings here and I put them through that loop that I made. And then I kind of push them as far as I can, like that. And then I start wrapping them. This loop here, 1 second, this loop is a little bit open and it's just sliding out there, so. And then of course now I've made it too tight. There we go. So once again, let's put both through the hole. Got to straighten that out. It's causing me some problems. Both through the hole and then wrap in opposing directions around that bit. Because what I'm going to do is ultimately put a little bit of putty right in here in the palm, and that putty is going to kind of fill that gap and also create a nice bond for me. So what I want to do is take this end, kind of wrap it around, and just kind of lock into place that palm of my character. See that? So of course I can start bending my fingers, making it a little bit more dynamic if I want. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. anchor those hands into place, like so. See that? Make sure that, you know, there isn't like a big ball or something going on here, because obviously you want to be doing some sculpting. Like in here, it's a little bit thick right in there. So I'm just going to take my pliers. This is soft. I'm just going to flatten that out. That way when I sculpt, there's nothing there that's kind of preventing me from putting anything on there. So now what I want to do is I want to wrap wire all over my character. So I kind of want some nice long pieces of this 0.5 diameter of wire. It's really thin. Because it's thin, you don't really need to go out and look for it. I don't think they even make, well, they probably do. I don't know what they would make it for, but this is steel, but it's so thin that it's easy to bend. So what I do is just a little thing here. I want a little end sticking out that if I don't take care of, that could potentially jab me when I'm sculpting. So just, you know, keep caution. Strange thing to be talking about, caution when you're sculpting monsters, but you know, keep getting poked with a wire can hurt. So better to be safe than sorry. So now that I've got that, I'm just going to wrap the wire all the way around my character. So what I'm wrapping is I'm wrapping the wire all the way up and then down to the other arm at this point. That ain't pretty. Now, what I also want to do is once I kind of get to the head here, I'm at a junction here for where my clavicles are, so I want to take that advantage of this wire to kind of anchor these clavicles in. See that? Just going to anchor that in, and then now I'm going to wrap it up the head, like so. I want to put it through that loop that we've got there, because that's just going to kind of keep it in place. It's going to keep it at the top. Got a little bit of a kink here on the wire. It's going to keep it at the top like that, see that? And then work my way back down. And then anchor the other side. And then down the other arm. Okay, now that I'm down here, I'm just going to snip this. And I'm just going to tuck this in to one of these cavities here in the wire. Oops. Just want to kind of thread it through there. If I can find sneak it through one of these holes here. There we go. And then pull it. Tuck it in like that, just like we're tying a knot. Like that. And then grab it on the other side and give it a tug, and then that will just anchor it into place. Just like that. And now I can snip it. So there we go. So there's the hands and arms. Tomorrow, I'm going to continue down the body, the length, the legs, and the tail, and then we'll actually get into posing the spine, the back, and actually just setting this thing into a a form. And then we can talk about the actual pose and dynamics and whatnot, and trying to get this character to be something a little bit more than just kind of a static, okay guy. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will catch you guys tomorrow in the next video. Ciao.